I'm in Princetown, right up on top of Dartmoor in the county of Devon in the UK. Dartmoor can be a bleak place, and Princetown, as you can see today, is living up to its reputation. The town really centres itself around the prison, Dartmoor prison. The prison was built some 200 years ago. It was to house prisoners that were formerly on prison ships in Plymouth, which is just 17 miles from here. And they built this prison up here because it was such a remote place. The church itself was built by the prisoners. Very plain design. It dates back just 200 years, as the prison is. When I set out from off the moor, it was a clear, bright day. But when I arrived up here, it's raining, as you can see. There's a sort of thick mist with rain in it, and it's very cold. The church is open, unusual for churches at the present time. So here's a few shots from inside. When the prison was built, most of the prisoners were French. Some 8,000 were housed here, and another 2,000, many of those were Americans. Now, for 100 years, when prisoners died at the prison, they were buried in a common grave. So this cross was erected, was built by the prisoners. Granite cross was erected in memory of the hundreds of prisoners who died at the prison and are buried in a common grave in this graveyard. For the last 100 years, if you died in prison, you were buried in an individual grave. And here are the memorials to those prisoners who died, and you were just simply given a basic stone with just your initials and the date. Let's see if we can make out the inscription on one of these stones here. Very worn. The initials are JW, and it looks to be 13, 14th of the 11th of 13. So I'm reading that as the 14th of November, 1913. The one next to it is a little easier to read, JJ, 27th of February, 1914. A rough count of these memorials, I make around 75. We have some war memorial graves here. This is Private Yeatman, Northamptonshire Regiment, 13th of December 1920. And a little further over is Private Bellamy of the Royal Army Service Corps, 1918, aged 38. Couldn't resist this cherub on this memorial, and the way the rain is picking out the spider's web on the side of the monument. This is a little unusual. It's made of metal, and it's in memory of James Angel. Could be 1887 down there. We're back to remembering the prison here. This is in memory of George Palmer, Chief Warden of Dartmoor Prison, born 1841, died 1904, 35 years faithful service. A lot of these stones have this black sort of fungus growing on them, so it makes them very difficult to read. This one's rather nice though, with the original ironwork around the outside. A couple here that are readable. This is to John Finch, who died in 1867, aged 47 years. And alongside it we have Henry Noah Kurzweil, who died in 1874, aged just 19 years. Underneath is an inscription, difficult to read, but it seems to read, "A sudden change, the unexpected fell." I'm not getting the remainder of that one. Clearly a story behind that. Just picking this one out because of the bright colours of the orange lichen, which has completely covered the inscription. Another one with the same effect, and behind also this orange lichen has taken over the memorial. A highly decorated one here. We've got an open book at the top with some sort of tree leaning over it. What a fancy frilly work around the outside. And this is Emily Jane, the beloved wife of W.H. I can't get that name, not the moment. But a very decorative stone. Here's one to George Taggart, beloved husband of Jessie J. Taggart, and he died in 1892. And here again we've got this wonderful orange lichen, which really adds some colour to this graveyard. There's one here against the wall for 3 valiant soldiers who were trying to get back to camp on time through a snowstorm up here on the top of Dartmoor, and they all died. And I see you can work out the names down there, but their ages were 20, 23 and 27. And the date that occurred appears to be 1853. So rather than be late back to barracks, they forced their way on through the snowstorm and perished. Up at the back of the graveyard is a section with the newer graves, so still being used. Well, I'm going to call that a day. It is very wet here. I'm soaked, the camera's soaked, and we're not seeing things as clearly as I would like. But having driven all the way up here, something I promised myself for some time, I wanted to do the video. I think you do get an idea of why they built the prison up here. It is so bleak and so remote. I was going to also show you pictures of the prison, but it's completely lost in the mist. That doesn't mean you shouldn't come up here. When it is fine up here, it's a beautiful spot with panoramic views. But despite what the weather is down in the valley, today it's very bleak. Till the next time.